Sarah Sandusky slams the door of her boyfriend, Chad Nuga's car, hikes the back of her skirt up as a little goodbye to Chad, and then heads inside the small diner for her after-school shift. She is shocked to find a packed house. The AM/PM diner is nestled in the middle of Lawrenceville, Ohio, and it isn't known for having busy lunch services. The whole neighborhood only has about 20 people to begin with. "Where you been, Sarah?" Gus, the afternoon grill man, says when he makes eye contact. "Softball practice got canceled, and the dick in the press box forgot to turn off the damn mic before announcing where he was going for lunch," Gus says as he takes a rolled-up newspaper and swats the hands of a nearby customer. "Gee whiz, Gus! Sue me for giving you some free publicity," the man from the press box says as he returns to his gazpacho. "Let me go sign in and then I'll get started," she says as she hurries to the back of the small diner. Sarah drops her things in the dingy office and grabs an apron from one of the nearby hooks. "Can I get my check, please?" An old diabetic woman, a regular customer, Joyce, says angrily. "I'll see what I can do, Miss Joyce," Sarah says with as much kindness as she can muster. She makes her way through the crowded dining room and notices a little old man waiting to be seated by the door. He's all alone and very meager. He looks to Sarah like the old man from the Pixar short film about the guy who plays chess with himself. Sarah doesn't remember the name, but she and her friend Stacy had watched all of the Pixar shorts and ranked them on TikTok, and that is one of their favorites. Sarah makes her way to the door to seat the old man, who suddenly perks up and smiles at the thought of finally being sat and served. The man, who must be all of 90 years old, leans his weight forward onto his walking stick and takes a step towards Sarah just as, "Hey Sandusky, I'm out of onion rings. Can you go get some out of the deep freeze?" Gus shouts from behind the grill line. Sarah stops dead in her tracks, looks the old man in the eyes, shrugs her shoulders, and turns around, marking a direct path through the restaurant and back into the kitchen. The old man loses his balance temporarily as he realizes he will have to wait another few minutes to be sat. "This place is a disaster," Joyce says to the man as she maneuvers behind the cash register, rings up her own meal, pays for it, and then grabs a piece of pie from the cooler. "And the thing is, they never learn," she says as she storms out of the small diner. The deep freezer is in a really disgusting room off the back of the AM/PM diner. The restaurant was built by the lady who owns the house next door. She comes in from time to time to collect the rent payment from Gus, but also to order the soup of the day. Sarah doesn't remember her name, but she calls her Nora. Now, Nora originally built a small 5-table restaurant and served food that she made in her house. As the business expanded and eventually became a rental property, she tacked on cheap little sheds to the back of the building and began linking them together. As Sarah walked through the second such shed, she steps down onto the bare dirt floor of the third shed and accesses the deep freezer. Everything that Gus purchases from the local Gordon food service is kept here. The frozen mozzarella sticks, frozen french fries, frozen fried mushrooms, and of course, the frozen onion rings. Buried under mounds of ice and other frozen products lied AM/PM Diner's final bag of Gordon Food Service brand frozen onion rings. Sarah laughs to herself as she thinks of all the old men whose hearts will be broken when she looks into their ugly eyes and tells them, "We're out of onion rings." She closes the freezer and turns to head back into the diner. It was then that she noticed on the side of the single concrete step connecting this shed to the other was a collection of signatures, scribbles, names, and doodles from past employees of the restaurant in its many variations. Sarah, knowing fully good and well that the diner was chock full of eager customers dying for her attention, stops and pulls out a lilac Sharpie and writes her name on the step. Next to Royal Benton, she writes Sarah Sandusky, and then returns to work. "This is the last bag. You'll need to get more before the weekend," Sarah says as she slams the bag of onion rings down on the counter. Gus grunts in understanding, rips open the bag, and fries an order. Sarah grabs her notepad and then returns to seating the old man. "How are you doing today, sir?" Sarah asks as she approaches him at the front door. "I'm okay.
I could be doing better. You've had me sitting here about 20 minutes now, the man says with a classic boomer attitude.
Well, sir, as you can see, we're very busy, Sarah replies with the classic Gen Z snark. The old man gives Sarah a puzzled look as she shows him to his table. Can I start you off with something to drink? Sarah asks as the man slowly pulls a small wad of dollar bills out of his breast pocket. As Sarah lists all of the drink options, the man methodically lays out 5 $1 bills on the table.
I'll take a glass of water and black coffee,
the man says finally after he completes his display with the bills. Okay, ice water and coffee. Did you know what you'd like to eat? Sarah asks as she scribbles the man's drink order.
Jeez, what's the rush? Can't I have some time to look over the menu?
The old man responds as he unfolds a pair of reading glasses that he has procured from his breast pocket. Sarah sighs, closes her notepad, and walks away from the table without saying anything else. Sometimes there's just no point in saying the little extra things you're supposed to say. Like, sure, Sarah should have said, okay, no problem, I'll give you some time with the menu and be right back with your drinks. But Sarah doesn't give a shit. She's too busy for those kind of pleasantries. She quickly waits on a few nearby tables and then returns to the old man with his coffee and ice water. As she sits the man's drinks down, she notices that one of the dollar bills has been removed from the display, leaving only 4.
Have you had enough time to look over the menu? Are you quite ready to order?
Sarah asks with the fakest customer service voice she has in her. The man looks her over and appears to stare into her soul. Sarah begins to feel a little creeped out. Hey, dude, what the fuck's your problem? You come in here to get a kick off little girls? Well, my boyfriend will fucking kick your old, disgusting, perverted ass if you try to pull any— The man raises his hands to quiet her and interjects,
No, I'm sorry if I've offended you for some reason. I don't know why a young lady such as yourself should be in such a foul mood, is all, the man says with a sheepish grin. Sarah groans as she realizes she's dealing with one of those guys, the same type of guy who said Hillary Clinton should smile more. I'm allowed to be stressed during a busy day at work, sir, and I don't have to perform any sort of way for you to be considered a young lady. I'm fucking 17. Are you ready to order or not? Sarah declares. The man considers for a second and then quietly removes another dollar bill from the table, leaving 3 remaining. I'll take a pepperoni mushroom pizza. Size small. Well done. With some Parmesan baked onto the crust. Now, do you happen to have any breadsticks?
The man asks as he holds the menu up for Sarah to take. She snatches it out of his hand and says, no. Taken aback, the man says,
You sure?
I work here every day after school, dude. There's no fucking breadsticks on the menu. Without hesitating, the man folds another dollar bill and returns it to his pocket. Okay, what the fuck is this all about, man? Am I supposed to give a shit that you're doing that with your money?
Well, you want a tip, don't you?
The man lets the comment sit for a second. Sarah adjusts her shoulders and listens to the man's explanation.
When I go for a bite to eat, I put $5 out on the table as an incentive to the waitress. Now, it says to her, if you do everything right, there's $5 in it for you. Now, usually it makes the girls work harder and be nicer because, well, they know what's coming to them if they don't. And that's why I start taking the dollars away when things go bad, you see. So the girl knows she's losing her money. I've never had someone lose as much as you, though, the man says with a smile. Sarah smirks, turns toward the counter and screams, "Got a pizza coming up!" to Gus, and then storms into the kitchen.
Almost everything at the AM/PM diner is prepared up front at the grill by Gus. However, a few owners back, Mindy Baugh, who called the place Bullskin Diner, started serving pizzas and had a pizza oven installed in the back kitchen. Ever since then, all of the oven-baked products were prepared by a second individual, and tonight, that second individual is Sarah Sandusky. I fucking hate when people order pizzas, she says as she slams the order slip down onto the pizza table.
Don't tell me it's a delivery.
Her friend, Stacy Penelope, the diner's delivery driver, says. Stacy works the evenings with Sarah as well, delivering pizzas and other diner food to homes within a 5-mile radius. Sarah and Stacy got pretty busy back here during the weekends, but on a regular Thursday, it wasn't too bad.
No, you're good. Just some old piece of shit in the dining room,
Sarah says as she digs a frozen 9-inch pizza dough out of the nearby deep freezer. She slams the frozen dough onto the pizza table and splashes canned pizza sauce onto it.
God, I'm so glad I don't have to deal with the people in there,
Stacy says as she lights a cigarette and walks towards the kitchen screen door.
I love getting out on the road and listening to music, and besides, everybody loves the pizza girl,
Stacy says as she takes a long drag.
Yeah, must be nice,
Sarah says as she flings a handful of cheese onto the pizza.
Meanwhile, I'm dealing with old fucks who tell me to smile more and try to taunt me by displaying my tip as a running total throughout the meal,
Sarah says, stopping work on the pizza and having a full-on fit to her best friend.
I mean, who the fuck does that? Who the fuck genuinely goes out to dinner and thinks, I'm gonna put $5 fucking on the table to scare my waitress into getting my drinks refilled faster? Like, what in the actual Facebook fuck?
Sarah says as she grabs a handful of canned mushrooms and smashes them onto the disgusting pizza mess. Stacy walks over to Sarah and puts the cigarette in her mouth. Sarah takes a long drag and blows the smoke out over the unbaked pizza.
Oh, fuck. I needed that,
she says.
That guy really got under your skin that bad?
Stacy asks, having never seen her friend react like that except when Jacob imprinted on Renesmee.
I don't know why. And that's the thing, I don't know why I care so much. It's just some fucking guy at the diner I work at after my high school classes. It's not gonna define the rest of my fucking life,
Sarah says as she takes another drag off Stacy's cigarette.
Exactly! Like, who the fuck is this guy? And like, what the fuck is this job that it gets to have this kind of control over your emotions? Like, seriously, Sarah? Wake the fuck up.
Stacy says as she takes the cigarette back. Sarah scoops up the pizza with the pizza peel and opens the oven.
Wait!
Stacy says as she rushes over, pulling the last drag out of the cigarette. With the flick of her finger, Stacy carefully spreads the ashes all over the top of the pizza, making sure to get an even coating.
Oh my god, that is fucking hilarious, Stacy. Yes, more.
Sarah laughs hysterically at the thought of this future core memory between her and her best friend. She closes the oven and starts digging in her underwear.
No way!
Stacy grabs her head and runs around in a circle as she realizes what her best friend is doing.
He said he wanted a Parmesan crust,
Sarah says as she removes her hand from her underwear and opens it, revealing a small sample of vaginal discharge.
This bitch just pulled vagina crusties out her underwear,
Stacy says, having a full-on laughing attack with tears running down her cheek. Sarah takes her panty crust and sprinkles it around the pizza crust with the Parmesan. She then grabs a small handful of mozzarella and covers up all of the cigarette ashes and then puts the pizza in the oven. Let's make real sure I lose those $2, Sarah says as she grabs Stacy and the two fall to the floor laughing hysterically. 30 minutes later, when Sarah is sure the pizza is well done, burnt, and the man is good and agitated, she takes out the pizza and drops it in front of him.
Sorry, me no know how make the pizza too good,
Sarah says in her best kawaii voice. The man gives her a stern glare and looks down at his pizza.
What is this supposed to be?
He says in disgust.
You said you wanted it to be well done, senpai.
Sarah says with a quick microaggressive Japanese bow.
I didn't mean burnt,
He says, confused. He starts to push the tray away from him and back towards Sarah, but she abruptly shoves it back toward him, causing a few small pieces of pizza to fall into his lap. We're all sold out of crust. You'll have to eat this one, she says unrelentingly.
I'm sorry if I have offended you. I'll just take the loss and go elsewhere. I don't need to,
The man says, trying to get out of this uncomfortable situation.
Oh, no. It's no offense at all.
She says as she begins to speak louder.
I have a disabled uncle. I help him eat all the time, sir. It's no problem at all. I'd be happy to help.
She says as she forcefully grabs the back of the man's head with one hand and a slice of pizza with vagina crusties, cigarette ashes, and the butt of the cigarette with the other and shoves it into the man's mouth.
Oh, boy, sir. You weren't kidding. You do eat like a retard, and you definitely need help or you will make a mess.
Sarah says as she holds her hand over the man's mouth, preventing him from spitting any of the nastiness out.
Wow, sir. Sir, I really thought you were kidding when you said that sometimes you needed someone to literally take your mouth and start mashing the food for you.
She says as she starts manipulating his jaw to eat the food.
Swallow! Swallow now! She screams at the man.
The table next to her appears to be recording her.
Don't worry, folks. This is what he asked me to do. I assure you, this is beautiful, what is happening. A beautiful, young, talented woman with the world ahead of her takes the time to feed this old, disabled man who can't help himself,
she says as the table begins to applaud. The man finally swallows and she releases her grip. The man violently drinks what remains of his glass of water and loosens his tie. After catching his breath,
Oh, what in the world is wrong with you that you do that to somebody like me?
the man sits up and stares directly into Sarah's soul.
I may have been rude, but I didn't deserve that, Sarah.
The man says as he gathers up the final $2 on the table.
I'm an angel, Sarah. Yeah, that's right. An angel. And we're sent here in strange ways to test people all the time, and you just failed big time, sister. Truly the worst I've ever seen. Now don't take it too hard on yourself. Now you didn't know. But that's the whole point, you see. We see you how you truly are. And you're just awful, Sarah. Absolutely awful.
I'm sorry.
Sorry? Oh, yeah. You're going to be, for sure. Sarah Sandusky, from this day forward, you will not know happiness. You will not know peace. And you will never find comfort. I avow it. So be it so,
he says assuredly as he crosses himself. As the man completes the sign of the cross, he disappears before Sarah's eyes.
What the fuck?
Sarah says as she blinks repeatedly.
Sandusky, what the fuck are you doing?
Gus yells from behind her. Sarah snaps to attention and realizes that everyone around her is staring.
I was just standing here, smearing food all over the chairs and walls? Man, what the fuck?
Gus says as he pulls Sarah into the back room.
Are you on something?
Gus asks as he pries open Sarah's eyes.
No, what the fuck? I got confused. Someone was sitting there and ordered that pizza I told you about.
Sarah says as she tries to make sense of what had happened.
Sarah, you need to get out of here. Now, I'll get Stacy to take care of the pizzas if we get any orders, but you're clearly not in the right state of mind,
Gus says, worried.
Gus, I'm fine. That guy must have just left, is all, and I got mad, so I threw some food around. I'll clean it up.
Sarah, you're done. Go home. Gus lets the severity of his statement hang in the air and then returns to the dining room. Sarah grabs her stuff out of the office and then sits outside on Nora's porch while she waits for Chad to pick her up. Had she really imagined the whole thing? Maybe Stacy had a laced cigarette or something. But then she seen the man before she smoked the cigarette. A cold wind blew, and for the first time, Sarah felt the chill of autumn. She fished a sweater out of her book bag and put it on to brace against the wind. Sarah had no idea what had really happened, but one thing was for sure. It was annoying, she was cold, and she was bored as fuck. With that, she opens TikTok and starts scrolling. To be continued.
And that's the last time I'm having the macaroni and cheese.